Good morning. Just want to do a quick update, and this time it will be quick. And something that I realized that I have said in a video before about divorce and, not holding on to any of my three homes, even one. I couldn't figure out, yes, I knew I wrote that poem that really ignited a lot of passion and a real clear directive to the universe from my soul that it wanted this awakening, this remembrance of true self. And that's when my whole world fell apart. So why I wanted to bring that up is I kind of wondered, like, I should have gotten a really good attorney and just let the two of them, bash this out. And I would have ended up with at least one home and a piece of land and, money in the bank from dividing the other, but or the other two. Anyway, but I couldn't figure out why. Wasn't I just left with one? Was it some part of me that felt I was so undeserving that I couldn't even have one of my three homes or one of my pieces of land? And what I realized, and it actually hit me when my friend Sandra and I were talking, and we were talking about parents and this and that. I realized, oh my gosh, if I had one of those homes as my permanent basis. Now I've been more, leasing this or leasing that, or not, or renting even a room and an office in someone else's big home. That's just one of them. Things like that I've done through the year because I've traveled so much. And then I stop at my mom's a lot because she needs care. She's 90 years old and she needs a lot of care that she's not getting. Now I just set something up that somebody can come in and make sure she is getting cared for. But if I hadn't spent as much time with her as I had, coming and going and spending maybe 2 weeks at a time or a week at a time for the last 3 years, I would have not got the depth of the lesson. I wouldn't have, if I had my own home still, I wouldn't have been down here very much in the Napa Valley. I wouldn't have spent the time with her. So I can see where all this time I thought, what did I do? Was I just stupid? How that all came about, that madness, or was that on a really high soul level? And it was. I want something more than anything else in this world, and that's the remembrance of self. That's the integration of all aspects of self, to be in that oneness all the time, not just part of the time, right? That connectedness to all consciousness, where we are in bliss, and therefore we don't care where we are, honestly, but to be able to stay there. One of the things that I learned with my mom, every time I came back, I was really frustrated at people not showing up for her and finding that she wasn't showing up for herself. All the beautiful food was rotten in the refrigerator and she ate, whatever wasn't so healthy for her, say her blood pressure, or going out a lot for meals. So it was interesting to finally get to a point, and not that long ago, where I came in, I didn't judge that she wasn't doing any cleaning, that none of the other siblings were coming, or so rare that, or her house wasn't being tended, whatever it was. I had these judgments about it, and her not showing up as the mother I had wanted as a child. The mother that's loving and affectionate and all those things that, that every child wants. Instead, she was out, of course, doing peace rallies, as many of you know, and saving every other minority on the planet, but had no time for her own kids. So there was a deep sense of resentment that I wasn't really sure about, and anger, because I felt I was always the protector of my mom. So how can you be the protector and the one that's always there for them, loyal to them, and yet still have this this undercurrent energy going on where it would catch me off guard, by things she said. Oh, it's so nice that you do this for me. And, the thought out of nowhere comes, yeah, I would have loved it if you did this for me. Just the thought. And it was like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? Because I thought I was doing it unconditionally and lovingly. And yet there were those wounds still deep inside that I could see, where I hadn't accepted that, where I hadn't love that aspect of myself that's playing out with her. In other words, that she's actually mirroring into the world for me, how I'm judging maybe how others should show up, or, what should be done when they come, or my own mother judging her for, what she says, oh yeah, I'm just lazy, that's why. And me just really being irritated by that, because it's like, really, so you wait for me to come and do all these things, but you won't do them for yourself, or you won't pick up a phone and call my other siblings and say, hey, take me on an outing. Hey, take me to the store or something. And having to give her responsibility for her own life, instead of me thinking I'm there as the rescuer or the savior. And I have to be really careful. And Sandy reminded me this. She also does human design. She says you have that savior channel, and you have to be careful, because people are going to project that on you. And so it was true. Many times in my life, it's been projected on me that I'm the savior. And therefore, some part of me on an unconscious level was trying to fix everything for everybody else. And then there becomes resentment when those people never reciprocate. And so, financially, you're going into great debt in your own, or working hard and giving it away to save others, when in fact, all that needed to be done is for me to go inside and really realize my value and my worth. I didn't need to save anyone. The only person I needed to save was myself from my misaligned beliefs, that I maybe needed any kind of saving, if I needed any kind of rescuing, or whatever it was. So, it was really neat to come back this last time. I was being distracted. My miracle was, technology was reflecting off of something. I was trying to figure out what it was. Anyway, so yes, just keep going. Keep looking outside of yourself and seeing what triggers, and then go in and immediately work on that. And another trigger, I just talked to my friend Helena, and it was just another trigger that came up, and it was about somebody I had met when I can't remember if I was in my 30s or my 40s, and I saw him behind the scenes, and I was kind of appalled how his stage presence was, and it was so grand and wonderful, and this, and he got behind the scenes, and I saw how he was treating the staff, and actually his wife at the time. So the judgment about that was still there. And so I had to go in and say, what part of me can be demeaning, or think I'm whatever, what's the word? What did I say? Arrogance that I saw in him. So again, it was still there, buried deep inside, but it was there because it came up when we spoke about this person. So again, going in and doing that deep inner work and going, let me start listing those aspects of the self that get mirrored in and shoved down. So many of us are doing a lot of cleansing right now, emotionally, physically, all of that. And so all of these things are going to come up for healing. So now all I can say is I am so grateful that, yes, nobody wants to lose their homes, but that I did, to learn something that my soul felt was more important than those homes. So I'll end this meeting, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and keep looking at your projections in the world and healing those. Okay? All right.